Hi everyone, my name is Terry Westwell and today's Tuesday, which means it's time to discuss our book of the week, which is Enemies to Lovers by Laura Jane Williams. First, this is a spoiler-free section, so if you haven't read this book yet, don't worry about it, it won't be spoiled for you here. There will be some spoiler-related things that I want to discuss, but that'll be later on in the video, and you will get plenty of warning. If you'd like to join in on any of the book discussions, send me your thoughts, comments, or even a short video clip of you discussing the book, then I'll list the next upcoming 4 books in the description below. I love an enemies to lovers. Arguably, it's got to be one of my favourite tropes, and I know that probably says more about me than anything, but whatever, it's a fun trope. So imagine my disappointment when I read a book literally called Enemies to Lovers, and it's sort of kind of not. I mean, it is in the loosest sort of chilled out romantic way, but would I call these characters enemies? Not really. There's definitely some friction there, but it is a very chilled out enemies to lovers, which I think is probably very common when it comes to contemporary romance. Like, obviously it's not as though they're fighting on different sides of a war or something. Despite this and a couple of issues I had with the book, I still rated it 3.25 stars. I mean, I didn't go into it with very high hopes because I wasn't enjoying it that much in the beginning, but it did pick up and, you know, it was a nice enough easy read. Okay, so quick summary. Flo is a highly strung overachiever and she is desperate for her relaxing Greek holiday with her family. Jamie, her brother's best friend, is a pain in the ass, and somehow on Flo's relaxing Greek holiday as well. With 2 surprise weeks of sharing meals, boat trips and sun lounges, Flo must endure his company, but after what happened last year, she's determined not to let him get the better of her. In fact, spending time with the enemy will be the perfect cure for Flo's all-consuming anger towards Jamie, right? If I had to compare this to any other book, I guess it would be something like The Hating Game, The X-Talk, or I guess something like Love at First Night, that sort of thing. It's a very mild enemies to lovers with a small amount of spice, and I do mean minimal. It was funny, very British goes on holiday, and it was a super easy read. I will say that it was full of stereotypes, especially British ones, and in the beginning, I think probably because of just how hard they went with those stereotypes, I wasn't really a huge fan of the characters. Most of them, though, did grow on me, and I did end up enjoying it. It was also a brother's best friend romance, so to some degree I think there was always going to be stereotypes and predictable elements, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't be an enjoyable read. You know, there were some elements that I saw coming a mile off and others that I weren't expecting so much. It was a nice easy read. I think that the chapter lengths were great and it was pretty fast paced. It's a perfect book for the summer. So as for the question, would I recommend the book? Sure, I mean there are enemies to lovers that I enjoyed more than this one, but as I said, it's a nice easy read. I think I read this book in one day, so great for a beach read or as a palate cleanser, but as I said, it did take me a while for me to get into this book and for me to actually like the characters. So will I be reading any more by Laura Jane Williams? Absolutely, however I think I would be going into it hoping that it contained and relied less on over-the-top stereotypes. I think that there are better ways to include humour and depth. So earlier on in the video, I said that you would get plenty of warning for any upcoming spoilers. This is that moment, so if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going and doing that first, because beyond this point, there'll definitely be spoilers. So the book was funny. I enjoyed the reference to British on holiday with the tradition of, you know, having breakfast and definitely a pint in the airport as you wait for your flight, no matter what time of day it is. It's not something that I personally do, however, I definitely know people who stick to that tradition every time. However, not all of the stereotypes, cliches and mannerisms were all that great. I mean, for starters, the brother's best friend was treated like family because his parents had died, and these are fully grown adults. One, why can't they just be treated like family because it's the brother's best friend? I don't feel like someone has to have died in order for you to have that sort of relationship with your best friend's family. And two, from what I could gather, the guy would have been in his 20s when his parents died, so it just seemed like really odd reasoning. So as I said in the beginning, I really didn't like the characters. I mean, I think it was leaning pretty heavily on what British people apparently call humour, which was just actively bullying each other. I mean, they were vulgar, judgmental, and just overall really unpleasant people with no regard as to how they talked or treated one another. And I'm not saying that that isn't uncommon in real life. I mean, we love a good self-deprecating joke and making fun of our loved ones, but I also think that it often goes too far and becomes a toxic trait that we shouldn't romanticise. The main character had moments of being super judgmental. I mean, slut-shaming because of how many people someone had slept with or because of what they were wearing, thinking things like, you know, where's his self-respect? And it wasn't done in a super harsh way, it was done in a way with, like, the acknowledgement that maybe she shouldn't, but I don't know, it just felt really old-fashioned and didn't make me like the character anymore. Most of my problems, ignoring the ridiculousness of the brother's involvement, I mean, it's another trope that I absolutely hate, this overprotective brother that thinks he's got any right over a say on his sister's romantic life. Ignoring that, most of my problems with the book were in the beginning. After a while, most of the stereotypes were kind of spent, so they were much less extreme and obvious, so it made way for a much more enjoyable read. Which is when I started to enjoy the book a little more. I probably would have rated it higher if there wasn't so much of it at the start. I did actually end up enjoying the book more than I thought I was going to, and I think that there was actually a great amount of character growth in the main character Flo. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Next week we're discussing Filthy Rich Vampires by Geneva Lee, so don't forget to get your thoughts and comments in by Sunday at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram or Discord. The following week will be Hexed, but don't forget if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list the next 4 books down below, along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you, and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, it's always appreciated, and I will see you next week. Bye! If you like romance, fantasy, or even thriller, basically anything fiction book related, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. We announce books at least 4 weeks in advance, and we accept your bookish feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send me a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message.